Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. This is Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. I'm getting on here today to do gonna keep this brief, a quick peek into Donald Trump's mental state. So wish me luck, right? I need to, me and my holy water. I need to definitely put that on. And I'll tell you why. I'm sure many of you have heard by now. So he had this apparently quite large turnout in Wildwood, New Jersey over the weekend. I think it was on Saturday. He did a campaign speech there. And estimates according to his camp, 80 to 100,000. We know we could probably safely pare that down a bit given his tendency to exaggerate. But either way, so 80,000, let's say it was 30 or 40. That's a lot of people who turned up. And apparently some of them sat out in chairs. This was in Wildwood, like the coastal area of Jersey. They said people were lined up sitting out in chairs for days waiting on this guy. Like, talk about cult followers. But anyway, moving on. A couple of things that came out. So we know, and you can tell from the thumbnail I used for this video, we know that in the past, in recent months, Trump has made repeated referrals to Al Capone because of all of the different criminal charges that he's facing, that Trump is facing. And so he said, not since, Al Capone has somebody had all this come out and blah, blah, blah. So he's made, sort of these gangster references and how to some extent when he uses something really twisted, he does it in a way that gives him leverage, or he's trying to give himself leverage or catapult himself on some level in a heroic fashion, because we know for fans of mob movies and gangster movies, people like Al Capone and Scarface, etc., they do reach these sort of interested, twisted, thus the thumbnail for this video, sort of this twisted sense of, sort of mythologized heroism, right? So, yeah, we've seen a lot of stuff coming out from Trump in regards to comparisons with Al Capone, right? And so the whole Don Leone and, Mafia Don, etc. with his family. All right, that aside, now this weekend, he comes out with Hannibal Lecter. And he apparently he goes, in front of this huge, massive crowd, starts in on, have you all seen Silence of the Lambs? And, did you see the part, where Hannibal Lecter says, yeah, I'm about to eat my friend for dinner. Great guy, he says. He segues into this whole thing, and some, newspapers and different media outlets are saying what he was doing was lining up this twisted comparison of Hannibal Lecter to migrants, and that he was talking about border security and the idea again, migrants they're rapists, they're criminals, and now they're cannibals as well. They're insane. We're letting in people who are in, who were from insane asylums into the country, left unchecked to run amok. Like, oh, it just gets to me. But here's the thing that I thought, and Spirit gave me, and I want to go to the cards and see what you all think about it. I was like, no, that's too easy. This man is way too strategic. He plans everything. He's, this is what he does. I'm getting a sense, you all, that this thing with Hannibal Lecter, that there's a part of Donald Trump who actually relates to that character in terms of, remember, if you've seen that movie, this was Silence of the Lambs. This was Hannibal Lecter squaring off against one of the FBI's best and brightest. Jodie Foster played the role. I forget what her character's name was. I should know it because he used to say it all the time in the movie. But anyway, it might come to me. But anyway, Clara. There it is, Clara. So Jodie Foster plays Clara. Top-notch, extremely smart, brilliant, up-and-coming FBI agent. I am feeling like with these, with these trials, with everything that's going on with Trump, if in fact there's a connection that he's making in his brain, that's what I'm getting from the guides, that he feels like he can outsmart the criminal justice system. That he puts himself, I'm not for entertainment purposes only, that's all this is, just a wondering, just an opinion, gotta say that. But I'm wondering if not so much the cannibalism aspect of it, but the psychological aspect of that movie and the character that Anthony Hopkins played with Hannibal Lecter. I'm wondering if he is actually seeing himself as some sort of maligned. Remember, Hannibal Lecter was behind bars this whole movie when he's interacting with Clara. So, Spirit, is there some connection there? Is that what you're telling me? That there's a connection that Donald Trump is making? He does, in fact, Page of Wands. He does, in fact, Nine of Cups. You know what? There is a part of him that is, and there's the Page of Wands. There is something going on in Donald Trump's mind. He is always, at all times, advisors aside, he feels like he knows better than anybody else, right? That's why he's always had that turnover, and he can't keep anyone by him for long, because he knows better than everybody else. And the Hierophant, boom, there it is. The Hierophant, the master of knowledge, the one who has the cult following. Even very often, this is a card that comes up in matters related to faith, but leaders of a faith, those whose words are listened to and whose counsel is followed. That's exactly it. He is, to a certain extent, I'm not trying to go too far with it, but I just got this whole other, Spirit was like, flip the coin of Fefe and look at it another way. He wasn't just talking about the migrants. He has thought about that film, and I think he has watched it perhaps recently. Has he? Did that come up because he's watched it recently? Ten of Wands. Crazy what this man is doing at night when he can't sleep. Ten of Wands. I think he's studied it, and he admired it from the perspective of someone who was in captured behind bars, but who was able to psychologically try to get into the head of that FBI agent and outsmart, because the film is part of it. For those who may not have seen it, is there's a criminal out here who's harming women. And the FBI finds out that, according to Hannibal Lecter's profile, he is extremely twisted. He is a cannibal. He is demented, absolutely. But he's also brilliant. And they go to him and they seek out his help to profile this criminal who's harming women, to lead to the capture of this person. So it's really tense psychological thriller. But this is something that he is Four of Swords. He's given some thought to it. He's studied it, and he does feel within his self, within his psyche, Donald Trump is feeling like he can outsmart the government. And look what he's done so far. I mean, he's managed to convince people in high places, Supreme Court on down, to help him out, postpone these cases, do what needs to be done to keep him traditionalist, because he is traditionalist with the Hierophant. The Hierophant upholds tradition, but this is Donald Trump's version of tradition, you all. This is his version of becoming, the forever leader of America. This is his idea of his ability to outsmart, outwit, outlast the United States government in the Department of Justice, and any attorney and any state attorney who wants to come against him. And he sees that when we're looking at, 80,000 supposedly, let's go ahead and take that down a half a notch to 40,000. But when he looks at these tens of thousands of people, just hooping and hollering and telling him how wonderful he is, he sees himself as preserving an American tradition that is of his making. That is completely of his making. He sees himself outsmarting any and everyone, including the American people, including those who are following him. Spells. I'll just stop it right there. Those who are under, he's casting a spell. Those who are under his spell. He sees himself as the ultimate, the ultimate deal maker, the ultimate mover and shaker, the one who is able to enrapture, people, who has people's eyes and ears, and he wants more of it, even if it's in a twisted capacity, i.e. Hannibal Lecter. right? I'm getting, you need me. You need me. As twisted as I may be, as wild as I may be, as from what I understand, even there was a whole lot of cussing going on in this 90-minute speech that he gave in Wildwood, New Jersey, and that at some point he even led the crowd in a chant of something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing here, but something to the effect, he was making a reference to Biden, really derogatory, but the reference he was making, he got the crowd to chant with him, something to the effect of, Joe Biden is SHIT, and this just SHIT, thousands of people, and they were like, yeah, rah, 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 spells, you all right? So that confirms it. I do think Spirit is confirming. Yes, he's really starting to go there, you all. Like, he's really starting to go there. I had a live this weekend with Susan Lynn. Absolutely love her. And we were talking, of course, about Trump. It was a political live. And we were talking about, so many psychics and others have said, and mediums have said, look, something's going to happen with this guy. He can't endure. He is getting older. He'll be 78 years old. He's a Gemini. So what, June something? He can't endure this level of stress, but so long, right? He wasn't in the best of health to begin with, and all of this. So there's been, is he even going to kick the bucket? There have been people who thought he won't even make it to, who predicted he may not make it to the convention in July, mid-July, the RNC, the Republican National Convention. I personally, my guides have said it looks like he is going to make it, but perhaps not. I don't see him having a whole bunch of years in front of him. But there's something in that spell work, this twisted thing with Hannibal Lecter thinking he can outsmart everyone, the government, the American people, Putin on down. He thinks he's that guy. Yeah, there's something going on mentally, you all, and it's not just. We've heard his speech. We've heard him flub words. It's not just cognitive decline. It's some other stuff going on there. All right. Last thing I want to look at before I get off here. From what I understand, we know that he's amping up, and time is ticking for him to go ahead and announce his VP pick. Kristi Noem blew it. I saw that he would have his preference would have been a woman, but don't think that's going to happen. So now, come to find out, we've seen Tim Scott with all of his gums grinning and skinning in recent, last couple of months with Trump on the campaign trail. J.D. Vance out of Ohio, still being talked about. But it was Doug Borgum who flew on Trump's plane with him to this campaign stop in Wildwood, New Jersey over the weekend. Flew with him, not just brought him in, but had him on the plane. Now, we know Doug Burgum is a source of money. He launched his campaign, I think, by offering people a certain amount of money in exchange for them putting him on the ballot or something. If I got that, you all will let me know. But there was something like, look, I've got money and I'm ready to put it on the line. And right now we know that more than anything, whoever Donald Trump picks as his running mate has got to be someone who can generate cash, right? Who can tap into some big donors, who's going to be a source of money. So Doug Borgum was on the trail, on the campaign trail with him this weekend. And from what I understand, Trump even said in introducing him, or Borgum made the opening remarks to introduce Trump, and then Trump thanked him and said, watch out for this guy, big things are coming, or something to that effect. Want to know if those big things coming was perhaps the promise of a cabinet position, or if in fact it's looking like Doug Borgum may get picked as Trump's vice presidential nominee, or his VP pick. Is Doug Borgum his VP pick? Ace of Cups right out the deck, you all. And when I ask questions like that, aces are a yes for me. Aces mean yes, right? Ace is wild. I think it's Doug Borgum. Please give me confirmation. Spirit, is Doug Borgum going to be Donald Trump's pick for vice president? I got the leader card to the deck in there. Is Doug Borgum the pick? The Chariot. And the Chariot is ruled by Cancer, time-wise, this would be around the the Republican National Convention in July, because we know that the sign of Cancer runs into July. I got a Chariot and a Ace of Cups, you all. Unless something really drastic changes between now and then, and somebody else shows that they could perhaps get him even more money, I think Borgum could be a guy. And remembering too that Doug Borgum did get a degree at least of national exposure. He didn't last very long, but he was an official candidate. He did make it on that stage with that swath of candidates early on. So yeah, and the King of Swords, I think that's Borgum. He sees Borgum as being pretty intelligent, but certainly not more intelligent than he is. Again, this man thinks he's smarter than everybody. Trump does. And the King of Wands, that's him. There's the partnership right there. Thank you, Spirit. I don't even have to go any further. I always see Trump as fire. He comes up very often for me as the Emperor, but I see him as fiery. And then we've got, even though we also know he's a Gemini, so some people would say that's he would come up more as swords, Gemini being an air sign, but he just comes up as fiery for me. And then we've got the swords. So definitely 100% I'm going to lock in on it's a man. He's had to give up on having a female running mate. It's going to be a man, and Doug Borgum is looking super, super, super likely. Let's see what happens. Time's ticking, you all. Take good care. Be careful out there. Let's keep it going. Let's get some people, we got 6 more months before this is going to happen. We got to get to the polls. So I will continue to check in with you all. But yes, that Hannibal Lecter thing was deeper than it looked, and it was not just about the migrants. Enough said. You all take care. I'll talk to you real soon.